Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Mitchell Hour Reacts. I want to talk about the music industry. I want to talk about rappers and how rappers now are turning into divas and how almost rappers now are just being involved in some type of drama, some type of beef to promote their albums. Back in my day, when you had an album coming out, you had that one single that you thought was dope, and you shopped it around at different radio stations. And you went to the radio stations and you freestyled. You didn't get a BlackBerry. You didn't, jump in online beef with other rappers. You just went on to show your lyrical ability and what you could do. You just really had to have faith in your music. Nowadays, the radio stations are not as important to artists as they once were. I think that's kind of hurting music a little bit. Hear me out. I understand what you're saying, but hear me out. Back in the 80s, the 90s, and even the early 2000s, you could go on a radio station, freestyle, and they would play your single. And the music, if it was good, you would do what you needed to do. Your album would do numbers, that single would go platinum, whatever. And then you would tour and do what you needed to do. Back then, it was authentic. It was all about the music. Now, not so much. Now, rappers are putting 20 and 25 songs on their album and relying on TikTok and Instagram reels and streamers to boost their numbers up, which in turn is not making the music good. There are so many artists right now that are jumping on Kai Cenat live stream and doing their own live streams, And personally, if you look at Elliott Wilson and B. Dot, Breakfast Club, and the Joe Budden podcast, I feel like those are the equivalent of the press run that artists would go on back in the day when they had talent. And they was really, really about the music, And I think like nowadays, a lot of artists can just put out any and everything, and they got their fan base, and they hop on these live streams. And yes, I'm talking about Nicki. Yes, I'm talking about Offset. Now, Offset album was really good. Nicki's, I haven't listened to it yet. I'll check it out. But my thing is, Kai Cenat is, he's like the top 3 streamers right now? Kai Cenat is an American online streamer and YouTuber. He is best known for his live streams and comedy-based content that he puts on YouTube. He is currently the second most subscribed Twitch streamer and the 14th most followed Twitch streamer with approximately 7 million followers. That's dope. So, the last 2, I guess, major albums were from Offset and Nicki. And both of them went on his live stream to promote their albums. And I get it. He has 7 million followers. He's popular. He's in our culture. I get it. But my thing is, I think a lot of these artists now are more concerned about the younger people because, okay, Offset, that's his fan base, Kai Cenat's age people. Nicki Minaj, not so much. But I guess the way that her people and her was looking at it, like, yo, we got to do numbers. Personally, Nicki is a loved artist, and I do feel like she was going to do numbers regardless. But hopping on his live stream, doing doing what you needed to do, sit there, dance, twerk, whatever. You know, the stream did numbers, and I think, as far as I know, Nicki broke the record for the most sell for a female hip hop artist first week. But my thing is, why do all that? Why not go on the Breakfast Club and freestyle? Get back to your roots, as you say. Why not go on a Joe Budden podcast and do a breakdown? You know, let Joe get inside your brain and your thought process while doing the album. Personally, what I think is they don't, Nicki, Offset, none of these artists now, they don't want a deep dive. Because the thought process while making the album, they didn't shut themselves off in a room or go back to their childhood home and just lock themselves in the basement and just write and go crazy. Because the only two artists that really deep dive and make music, provoking music like that is Cole and Kendrick. They don't have to jump on live streams and do all this beefing online and interject themselves in something that has nothing to do with them. Call all these people to the studio and sit there and act like they're gangsters and call out other artists but not say their names. And that is my problem with the music industry nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like that is the main problem. It's no authenticity. There's not too many artists that put their all into their work anymore. Of course they will say that. But now, like I said, it's more about putting 20 and 25 songs on your album. Some of the songs are a minute or 2 minute long because they're making their songs to go on TikTok. To be a viral dance hit. So they can get their numbers up as far as streaming. Being involved in online beef and getting your husbands to beef and argue. And some of these situations that artists are putting themselves in because they want to sell records could have consequences to land people in jail or to get people arrested. And also with the music industry, I feel like I get it. The internet is a new thing. The internet and well, the internet's not a new thing, but promoting your album and really jumping on there and not have to go to radio stations is the new thing. You have so-called real street niggas that are jumping online for everything. You have so-called street niggas that are jumping online to say that they're going to sue another so-called street nigga over music. And it's almost like the court of public opinion matters more than anything else. And yes, I'm talking about Boosie and Rod Wave. Really think about this. Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, The Game, Offset, even Busta Rhymes now. It's like everybody is getting involved in some type of drama and then making it seem like it's the other person. Busta Rhymes is from the golden era. Busta Rhymes is from the era where you actually had talent and you had to go on the radio stations and freestyle and really put out quality music to do what you need to do as far as numbers. But with him, I mean, y'all can agree with me or disagree, that's fine. But the whole Benzino thing. If you know Benzino, the cornball that he is still a father. You know what I'm saying? So when Busta had Coi Leray in his music video, half naked, even though she's always naked in everything she does, but as Busta being a a person of integrity and a person with morals and coming from the era of hip hop which he came from. It seems to me that he's using the tactics that these newer generation hip hop artists are doing. Streaming and using the newer artists to get a new fan base. And I don't get it. If you've been a fan of Busta Rhymes since the Scenario song, or I remember on a school bus listening to Extinction Level Event and just going crazy over the beats and the lyrics and how just dope that he's been for as long as he's been in the game at that time. And I think the craft, no, I can't say that. Nas said hip hop is dead some years ago, but Nas is still putting out quality music now. So I can't say that hip hop is being murdered and killed, but it is taken to a certain extent because you have artists that will come in the hip hop industry like Post Malone, get the fan base, get the notoriety and the popularity, and then move on to pop or rock, which is fine. So I don't think hip hop is dead. I believe that it's at a point to where the love is not there anymore. You remember when back in the day you could listen to a song and just feel it 100% and know that this artist was really tapped in. That you don't really get that feeling that much anymore. When you do get that feeling, when an artist is putting his heart, it's like that music is not appreciated as much as it used to. I just miss the days where you never knew when an artist was going to drop unless you heard that single on the radio or he popped up on a radio station to do some super dope freestyle. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Mitchell Hour Reacts. Until next time, I'm out.
Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like button, comment, and subscribe.